All right, just for fun, I decided to now that the audience is building up a little bit, I thought that it'd be interesting if the audience has heard different styles, different comics. So I hit up some comics from the IE, which is kind of like my stomping grounds for stand-up comedy, and I just asked them to tell them say why you started doing stand-up and worst bombing story. And I don't know, I wanted the people that listen to this, I want you guys to understand that one of the other cool things I like about stand up is how there are completely different styles and how a personality can dictate the style. And when you listen to these two guys, you'll know exactly what I mean. The first one is going to be Nick Laney, and the second one is going to be William Bradford Holland. So if you're interested in other comics in the IE, and if you want to hear more from other comics in the IE, just email thebuddysystemco@gmail.com or DM me. Doesn't matter. And I can hit up more guys and gals. And yeah, you can hear some different type of comedians. So whenever we start up open mics again, I'm sure these guys will be there. So yeah, here's Nick Laney and William Bradford Holland.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for asking me to do this. I really appreciate it. So, a little bit about myself. I officially started doing stand-up in 2008. It was in a coffee shop in Corona. I was 19. I've been consistently doing stand-up since April of 2018. Some might wonder why there's a gap. That's because I was in college at the time. I don't feel like I truly fell off, as I was trying to do mics every now and then throughout the year. I was always writing every day, and so I knew this was something I wanted to do. I've basically wanted to do this since I was 16. So I would say, as far as my actual stage time, I would say it's been like over 2 years. Another thing about me is that I am a clean comic because of my Christian faith, something that's personal to me. Some might ask why I just don't do comedy in churches, but I do feel it makes me a stronger comic to do it in tougher areas such as bars or coffee shops. I also feel like I've truly made it if I can make it through the comedy club circuit scene. I do comedy because deep down I am a very creative person, and unlike most creative fields, I love how you have to be in the moment to be good at comedy. Like, maybe you're talking to somebody and you get an idea in a conversation, or while you're on stage, that feeling of telling the jokes and you don't know where it's going to go. Maybe you get ad-lib, you get an idea on the spot. I have had a few comedic inspirations. It's kind of hard for me because a lot of people I saw doing comedy when I was younger, they were technically comedians, but they're doing a lot of comedic movies. But I would say the first stand-up inspiration was Dane Cook, because he was the first comic I saw that made stand-up comedy feel cool, and that he showed that you could have fun with it. When I started to pursue stand-up comedy more seriously, I did study Rodney Dangerfield because I wanted a better idea of joke structure. I also really looked at a lot of Eddie Murphy's performances to get an idea of stage presence. He had really good joke transitions, a lot of charisma. I really like that. I admit that I don't watch a lot of those early inspirations as much because I still want my comedy to be in my own voice, so to speak. As far as my worst bomb story, I believe you were actually there. It was at the Haha Cafe open mic. It was in LA. It was my worst bomb because when it happened, just felt the air being sucked out of the room. It was only 5 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime. I did my regular jokes like I normally would, and then that got kind of awkward, and then I did crowd work. I went back to my old jokes. In general, it just felt very awkward. Now, the room was full of comics, so a lot of people could chalk that up and say, well, I didn't do as well because it was mostly comics, but at the time, I never liked using that as an excuse. I always tried to make everything as best as possible, and if it didn't go well, I had to come back with better jokes. But with this, I think what actually made it scarier was that eventually I addressed the awkward energy in the room and went off script, and I got some laughs. So I think what made it scary is that the solution to that was to not be scripted and be present, and at the time, I didn't know how to really do that. How do you feel like you're really there with the audience and that kind of stuff. So I feel like I learned a lot from it, but I think it took me a long time to figure out how I would learn from that experience. So it's all part of the process. And in the end, I would not trade that experience with a set that did well if I didn't learn as much. And I think that's all what it takes to be a better artist. In the end, I think that I can connect this back around to my original mentality to not want to be in an environment where everyone's nice to you or they always like you, but instead a very harsh and cold environment, because if you can make them laugh, then you've really succeeded as a comic, especially in an environment where people can sense if something feels fake. This also goes back to my original reason for why I love comedy, and that you have to be present and you have to be in the moment, and the audience has to feel that. So yeah, thank you, Aaron, for this opportunity for me to tell my story. I really appreciate it.
One Aaron Donahue Chase asked me, William Bradford Holland, to record a little snippet of what it means to me to be a comedian and why I wanted to do it. And I think that's the dumbest question you can ask a comedian, but everyone always does it, and I don't understand why. Like, there's any other answer than it looked fun and I like attention. Are you waiting for some deep, profound answer? Like, oh, I wanted to change the world? Like, we're one hot take? We're one funny bit away from world peace? Everybody's in the dark, and we're waiting for your little bit of light to come shining through, like your quick little whip about what's happening in America is going to change anything. If George Carlin didn't even change anything with his jokes, he changed things by not cucking in and not changing his vocabulary. He cursed all he wanted because he was a dirty, rotten little old man. He was a dirty old man. So he was cursing up on that stage and they hated it and they said, hey, stop that, you dirty little sex man. And he didn't stop. He changed the world that way. He didn't change shit with anything he said ever. Not a one time ever. He pointed out a lot of things, but is anything better than it was when George Carlin? No. It's way fucking worse because, hey, guess what? Comedy doesn't change the world. It doesn't. It never has and it never will. To think that is stupid. You're an idiot boy if you think that. You're an idiot boy or an idiot girl if you think we're one funny take away from world peace, from race relations ending because we're waiting for your knock about it, for your yuckum about the hot topics of today, the presidency. You think you're going to solve that? Trump bad, Orange Man bad, huh? Oh, wow, you said it, you tweeted it. You're a fucking rogue warrior. Instead of walking into this war with an Uzi, you're walking into it with your brain and that pen and paper. You're a fucking little artistic little rebel boy. It's an idiot thing to think. It's dumb to think that. Every comedian on the planet got into it because it's fun. It looked fun. You saw it as a little child or a teenager or early adult, whatever it was. But also early adult, come on. I think if you're 30 and you want to get into comedy, stop. In 30, stop it. You can keep doing comedy in your 30, I'm saying, but if you start at 30, get out. Stop it. Nobody cares. You think that's what the entertainment business is missing? A 30-year-old doing comedy? We're just waiting for your hot take on shit? Stop. You're not important enough to do it. Quit your dreams. Abandon them. Focus on your family. You're already settled. If you're settled in one direction, you gotta stay that direction. Oh, but Will, what about blah, 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 who made it late at 45? Okay, well, yeah, one guy did it. Congrats to him. Whoever you're thinking of, cool, that guy did it. Cool, yeah, that justifies you spending the next 10 years of your life trying. Anyways, it looked fun, and attention is fucking great. So that's why we do it. That's why everybody did it, no matter who you hear. I don't know how Aaron is editing this. If he is editing this, you might not even hear this part. Who knows? I might be talking to one person, and that's fine. But if the other people you hear in here, no matter what they say, just know it's because they like attention, and they want to feel better than people. Every comedian, we want to feel better than them because we think we're better than them. Even if they're saying they don't, they're lying to you and they're lying to themselves. Get them out of your life. You don't want liars around you. Get those people out. And we know they're lying. Because the job is literally, here's how I thought of something. You want to listen because you didn't think that way because I'm smarter and more clever. Is the thing every comedian thinks. Unless they're up there literally just doing stupid one. Like Mitch Hedberg probably didn't think of that. So not every. That is what we call a lie. I just lied. So get me out of your life too if we've learned anything. But here's the difference is I acknowledge it because I don't live in delusion, which is something most open micers do. They live in delusion. They're lying to themselves saying, oh, I'm fixing these jokes. I'm doing these jokes different. You're not. I've known you guys for years. Most of you do them the exact same way every time you go up. And it's, what do you think that's fixing? It fixes nothing. It gets no more entertaining. It gets no more better. It stays in the shit level it's at constantly forever, and you're fine with it because actually working on it would be hard. Yep, and they're lazy. A lot of comedians are just lazy people, and that's fine too, because another reason every comedian gets into it is they don't want to work. Having a 9-to-5 job would be the worst thing I could ever imagine on the planet. Getting stuck in that is like a restaurant manager. Every restaurant manager I've ever had, I'm a server, every restaurant manager I've ever had has been a depressed piece of shit. Just a garbage human, sad, depressed, angry at the world, takes it out on you because he can, depressed piece of shit. I had one great one, but that's the exception. Like I said, there's always one exception. That doesn't mean what I'm saying is false. Just like if you're getting into it in your 30s, which you should still be stopping. I know what you're thinking. He was talking about me. I was. Stop it. If you think that, you're wrong. You're not interesting. If you were interesting, you would have taken the plunge long ago. What, do you think you blossomed this late in life? No, they only say that to girls when they hit 30 because now they're worthless to society. Okay, that's a joke. But it's attention. That's why comedians get into this. Attention. The question you should have be asking comedians is why do you keep going back to it? Because that's where you really get the differences. That's where you see what really makes somebody's mind tick. That's the interesting part, because everybody gets into it for the attention. That's understandable. Everybody wants it. We were all a toddler. Feel like that again. Cool. But the reason you keep going back, because say you go up and your first time's great, fantastic. We know why you went back, because that rush and that thrill, you're going to be chasing it. Say you go up and your second time, just as good. Third time, just as good. Eventually, though, rule of thumb is just the rule of Darwinism, I meant to say, not thumb. That makes no sense. Rule of Darwinism is that you're going to bomb eventually. Even if you have a streak of 15 great ones, you're about to bomb. It's going to happen. So why do you keep going back? If you go up your first time and you bomb, why did you go back? If you go up your 14th bomb and that's your first bomb, why did you go back? That's where you really get to see the interests in people. That's where you get to see those electron neurons in their brain firing. Synapses going like spark plugs. A lot of people go back for a lot of different reasons. The main one, I think, is it gives them just an identity. It gives them something to where if they're in a predicament and they have to talk about something open and emotional, they can always fall back on I'm a comedian. What's interesting about you? Nothing's interesting about you except for that you're a comedian, because at least you have that over the person standing next to you in line at Target. I feel like that's why the majority of comedians actually do get into it and actually stay into it. It's just the little barrier, the little protection, the blinders they get to hide behind, the shutters they get to hide behind of the world. They get to peek out every once in a while and say they don't scare me because I have this thing about me that's different and special. I can always bring that up, and at least I can get a, ooh, you don't hear that often, but you kind of do hear it that often nowadays. So I feel like that's why a lot of comedians return. I don't even know if you asked me to answer that question, but I did. Another reason, so you're welcome, another reason a lot of people go back is I think it's a little bit sadistic. There is something fun about knowing that you're bad. It's a very weird sensation. It's just how there's you'll hear soldier stories sometimes and they say war is hell, but then other times people will say war was just calm, because there's calm and chaos. When everything's chaotic, eventually that just becomes your normal and then you just get to coast on it. So I feel like a lot of comedians actually do like the feeling of knowing that they're bad. They get used to the I'm bad, because then they get to tell themselves immediately after, yeah, but you could get better. So that quick little endorphin rush that they get from lying to themselves, saying that they're going to get better at it, is enough to boost them to get to the next day, because they get to coast on the main drug that they're chasing, the main one. The endorphin rush afterwards is just their chaser. The main one that they look at is well, at least I know they didn't like me. It's why some people like getting whipped during sex, during sexy kink time stuff. They like to dress up like piggies and squeal as you slap their ass. It's the same reason some people like that. Choke me harder, daddy, ooh woo. Same thing. It's because at least you know the pain is significant. The pain is there because you know something's happening to you now. So you kind of the emotional and the connection on that, I think, is the thing that people chase with that. Same with bombing constantly. You get into this numbness, this calmness of, well, at least I know this. So if I live in this long enough, I can stay at least this semi-calm. I have my thing. I'm a comedian. I'm bad now, but I can get better. It's a quick little dulling followed by a shot of adrenaline. It's a classic junkie rush. That's a classic junkie, drug addict move. It's an addiction. So I feel like the people, that comic is more the people who bomb every time. But on the other end of the spectrum of them, you have the natural-born killers, the murderers. They show up. They're the Navy SEALs of comedy. They go in, they get the job done, they leave, they crush, they murder. They're a few weeks, years, decade maybe away from making it, but you know the future's bright, and thank you, I am one. Yep! I know you guys were thinking it, and I'm honored. So the stray murderers, the killers, they chase it for the exact same reason. It's because it's just a constant endorphin high. It's like the cracked addicts of it, where it's just go, 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 go. They like that rush. They like that feeling, the adrenaline it gets them. It's great. It's like being on a roller coaster. It's fantastic. It narrows your vision, and it's the only thing you can really focus on. So for them to go back, it's really interesting because they kind of hit a crash. They hit a dull. It's like when you just go cold turkey when you hit your bomb. It just wipes your slate completely clean, but it teaches you, hey, we're at our rock bottom. That's why I say it's like rehab. Because you're now at your rock bottom, but hey, look, you're still living, buddy. You're getting up again tomorrow, and you know what you're going to do? You're going to punch Rocky fucking Dennis in the face, motherfuckers. Rocky Malavia, it doesn't matter. If his name's Rocky, he boxes in my world. You're going to punch Rocky in the face, and it's going to work. Because you're at rock bottom now, but you don't have to stay at rock bottom. You get to go up again, you're breathing through it, but you know you took an ego hit. So now are you going to go back, or are you going to listen to that ego and say the crowd was wrong? Because if you're crushing constantly and then you get a bomb, it was probably you, because you've proven to yourself you could work a room. So when it happens, you didn't work that room, but they rarely look at it like that. You'll meet a bunch of spoiled fucking asshole comedians in this category. Absolutely you will. Pete Davidson. So, I don't think he's a natural-born killer, but I think he thinks he's a natural-born killer. Pete Davidson does. But he's the king of Staten Island. Anyways. So that's what I wanted to do comedy because it's fun and I like attention. Most people do comedy because they think they're going to change something, but they're not, and they like living in the delusion of it. If you really want to know the ins and outs of comedy, there you got it.